must learn to love your brothers and sisters. That your days may be longer. Hey, that your days may be longer.
When you're talking about the tetragrammaton, when it's basically depleted of the vowels, because Yahweh means YHWH, which means agreeable and disagreeable. So you got, many different sets of the Anunnaki. So don't let these people, deviate you from the truth.
On the clock. Before we get started, I just want to do a brief recap of our last conversation. If anyone out there did not listen to the first interview I did with Strelnikov, I'm going to put the link in the description box below. Strelnikov, when we last spoke, you provided some truly shocking information on the Anunnaki. You said Russia has known of them for many years, that Russian forces have had skirmishes with them, and after some time, Russia did develop weapons that could either kill or wound Anunnaki. At the closing of our last conversation, you said an Anunnaki emissary approached President Putin with an ultimatum. I'd like to start right at that point. Do you remember what was the ultimatum?
Yes, Mike. Like I said, this villainous race has ability to instantaneously transport from one location to another by a nexus of portals that only they can see. Anunnaki appeared near the MOD and demanded to speak with President Putin. I am foggy on some details, but what I know is this. Arrangements were made between Putin and Anunnaki to meet at Putin's mansion on the Black Sea coast near the village of Paraskovivka. At this meeting, the Anunnaki delivered the ultimatum. Leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, or else perish with the rest of the world.
Wow. So what you're essentially saying is that...
Now that I think about it, this whole Brittany Griner situation, how do you know that she's not being used as a casualty of war? You know what I'm saying? Because when you even look at, this is just me theorizing about everything that's going on. When you look at, the emulation of Brittany Griner, she looks just like those Avatar characters. You know what I'm saying? She's really tall and things of that nature. So how they not using her as a casualty of war to jumpstart, this so-called war, you know what I'm saying, this spiritual war that we have going on the planet. Now, that's just a thought. But mind you, I told you, this guy right here on the left that's being interviewed, he was a KGB member and he was killed for putting out this information. So, like I said, we're going to get back to the rest of the video.
The Anunnaki offered Putin peace in exchange for, shall we say, agreeing to participate in a non-intervention agreement?
Something like that, but it's much more shocking. The Anunnaki told him that in exchange for not interfering with their plans, they would leave Russia alone and not even set foot on Russian soil without explicit permission. The Anunnaki also said they would tell Putin how to survive Nibiru passing through the solar system. On the other hand, if Putin refused to offer the Anunnaki said Russia would be the first to fall and its people would be enslaved and taken as food.
Holy smoke.
Now, when you understand the inception of, certain forms of wordology and etymology and things of that nature through prefix and suffix, the word slave comes from the word Slavic. A Slavic is basically a Russian. So, a lot of times, a lot of people, a lot of the evolution and creation of mankind, a lot of those Nordics and Indo-Europeans started over in Russia. So that's why, the Anunnaki has a primary target when it comes to that geographical landmass over in Russia. Because I told you the Russians, the Slavs, the Slavics were the first slaves, because that's where the word slave comes from. It's not basically connected to the concept of your so-called African history.
Assuming that to be true, it's hard to imagine why Putin declined such an being facetious, a generous offer. Wow, why would Putin? Why would Putin deny that?
Because Mike Putin does not trust them. He may be an optimist, but he is not stupid. He figured that the Anunnaki would dishonor any agreement. These creatures are devilish and manipulative. So Putin told them to go away. We do not want you here. He told, leave the planet and never come back. You know what the Anunnaki told them?
No, but I'm hoping you'll tell me.
The Anunnaki said to Putin, Earth is our planet, not yours. We are the ones who seeded the Earth with strands of life. He said that they grew all life on Earth. As in a giant.
And that's a fact, you know, that's now that's due to the fact that, you know, one of the videos they took down from my page when I was talking about the inception of creation and things of that nature, talking about the non-Etherean gases that manifested everything that's connected to the intrinsic transmission of the solar radiation on this planet and how everything was developed and things of that nature. So that's a reality, because I told you the Anunnaki are your so-called, you know, your fallen angels. When you're talking about the Elohim, which means many gods, and when you're talking about the Neteru or the Nephilim, they're basically, you know, the same different, you know, they're the same deities and the same primordial gods, but they just got different nomenclature titles on the names.
And petri dish. Humans, the Anunnaki said, belong to them.
He said giant petri dish. So that when he's talking about, you know, he's talking about, you know, how mankind was genetically spliced. And I told you that all happened, you know what I'm saying, due to the intermixing of races. When you're talking about Yakub, which means subplanted, right?
He said that they grew all life on Earth, as in a giant petri dish. Humans, the Anunnaki said, belong to them, just as your mother's chicken belonged to her.
Facts.
So every 3,600 years, give or take, they return to harvest.
Harvest what?
Us. We are little more than food and slave labor.
Theological repercussions aside, that is a frightening thought to comprehend. How did the Anunnaki respond to Putin's answer?
The Anunnaki said, you've been warned, and left.
And yet, no massive Anunnaki force has invaded Russia.
At least not yet.
One thing I really don't understand. If the Anunnaki have the ability to instantly travel anywhere they want using these portals, I mean, why haven't they just sent a brigade of soldiers into Moscow? If the Anunnaki who wanted to speak to Putin showed up at the MOD, obviously they must have these portals in Russia already.
For every answer we know, there are two we do not. It is possible the case can accommodate only a certain number of Anunnaki before needing a recharge. We just don't have all the answers, but keep in mind that Anunnaki do not just attack military, they work behind the scenes. Evil machinations with human beings corrupted by Anunnaki's sinister agendas. If they can infiltrate government positions and influence law, they need not show up with guns blazing.
Yeah. Fascinating. Does Putin believe right now, does he think that the Anunnaki have infiltrated the Russian government?
No, but he believes other nations have been compromised.
What nations, for instance?
For instance, yours.
Putin believes the Anunnaki have infiltrated the White House?
Not sure about now, but under Obama administration, many Anunnaki roamed the White House corridors. I really don't have more information on that.
Well, interestingly enough, you're not the first person to make such a suggestion. I haven't heard about the Anunnaki.
Now you do have some Anunnaki, like I said, you have some of them are disagreeable. Those who are connected to Azazel, who is Halal, who is basically the personification of Lucifer, because his father is Tarnush. So that when you're talking about, those are the bloodline of the Anunnaki who is connected to who is connected to Enki. When you break down the etymology of it, Enki, which means En means Lord, Ki means Lord of the Earth, Ki means Earth, which is the everything that we have in our system. So he basically controls everything in the three-dimensional world from a disagreeable aspect.
Not infiltrating the White House, or others have talked about another race called the reptilians, but we're not going to go there right now. Let's step in a different direction. According to you, Russian forces have clashed at least 6 times with the Anunnaki, resulting in many deaths on both sides. Where is the photographic or video evidence of the engagements? People like me and others who report on this topic, we take huge hits to our credibility because we don't have that hard evidence. I'm sure it must exist in an era where Big Brother watches everything, where soldiers have body cameras. So there should be footage or pictures of these Anunnaki or Anunnaki corpses. What do you say to that?
Yes, Mike, I realize this is a big problem. Any footage is classified at the moment at most secret level. Even I have not seen it. Does it exist? Probably yes. Keep in mind that lack of thereof also affects my credibility. Yeah,
you see that.
I spare what I can. As to corpses of Anunnaki, there are none. The Anunnaki biology is most strange. Their insides contain a corrosive vial that at the time of death literally dissolves both endo and exoskeleton.
And that's true because Anunnaki don't never die. So when you're talking about the personification of gases, liquids, and solids, you got Etherian gases, which is able to cause a transmutation process and transmute over into a liquid. And then that intrinsic sunlight, which gives you the illusion of physical matter, which is carbon or melanin, things of that nature. So they can go from a gas state to a liquid state to a physical state. So when they die, that's why they're able to liquefy. So that's why they don't have any type of, the biological structure and the anatomy of the dead corpses of the Anunnaki.
Only skulls have been known to survive this process, and photographs of Anunnaki had bones on the internet.
Right. And I have seen photos on the internet that of elongated skulls that many say are Anunnaki. But digressing, I've known you for many years, and I absolutely believe that you're given the best possible information to which you've been exposed. However, as a journalist, I have to question everything. You've mentioned Anunnaki use plasma-based weapons and energy spheres, and that their bodies liquefy at time of death. Now, these are conventions of 2 popular American science fiction franchises, specifically the Predator and Alien series, respectively. It seems a bit convenient that the Anunnaki lore mimics these fictional inventions. What do you think?
Michael, the margin or level of separation between fiction and reality is very narrow. I have never seen these movies. I've heard about them, but I've never seen them. I do not like movies. But the technologies used by the Anunnaki are real and are deadly. Ministry of Defense worked tirelessly to understand their technology and find a way to counter it.
Thank you. You previously said, to your knowledge, other nations do not take the Anunnaki threat as seriously as does Putin, or if at all. Now, it has been suggested to me that Trump and Putin are in a secret alliance to defeat them, and that all the current rabid anti-Russian sentiment going on right now is a dog and pony show. to distract people from that, from Trump and Putin actually working together. What do you say about that?
Look, Michael, I wish this to be
Now
true.
this just really made me think of something. Now, you know, you got Russia teaming up with China. They reverting back to the gold standard when you're talking about the monetary system and the financial and economic system. The reason why they're doing that, they're not, you know, this is where it's going to be the precursor to a lot of calamities on the planet, because the gold, they're not supposed to use that because the gold doesn't belong to them. You got to go back and look at